Take one. Action. Hi guys, my name's Olivia Burnett and I will be speaking to you guys today about vaginal health. Before we get into it, I just want to say thank you to Glene for inviting me over to Lady Glene Legacy to have this conversation. Men, this is not an invitation to sit this one out. The information that will be discussed here is just as important to you as it is to the females. Also, guys, please bear in mind, I am not a specialist. That is to say, I am not an OBGYN, nor am I a gynecologist. My only ties to medicine is through dentistry. However, I am a proud owner of a vagina for the past 2 decades, and I think that makes me somewhat of an expert on it. The information that I will be giving you guys today, it's not something that gate kept. It's no one's gatekeeping it. However, we do understand that we don't know what we don't know. So I hope that after this discussion today, that girls, men, you'll be prompted to find out more about your reproductive organ. You'll be prompted to find out more about maintaining it, ensuring that it's healthy, and understanding the ties, most importantly, between your reproductive organ and your overall health. So let's get into it. Alrighty, so the first thing that we're going to be discussing today is the anatomy of the female reproductive system. And anatomy is just a fancy way of saying the different parts of the organ. The takeaway message that I want you guys to get right here, there is a difference between the vulva and the vagina. We're going to see that right now. Let's get in as close as possible. This, focus, all right. This is what we see both male and female when a woman is lying down with her legs open. All of this that we're looking at here is referred to as the vulva. All of this, everything that you can see externally when a woman opens her legs, the vulva. To be more specific, the vulva consists of the outer lips. In science, we call them the labia majora, which literally translates to big lips. The inner lips, also called the labia minora, small lips, right here. These two small lips meet anteriorly, or at the top right here, to form the clitoral hood, which is just skin, excess skin that covers the clitoris, that little bud of tissue that we see right here, directly under the clitoris. Let's get a little closer without the lighting going by. Okay, this opening here is not technically visible to the naked eye, so if it is that you've ever checked, if you put a mirror there, you won't readily see this opening, but this is the opening to the urethra, or the urethral opening. Everything that has to do with urine and urination is this one. Directly below that, we have the vaginal opening. So this is not the vagina yet. This is the opening to the vagina that we're seeing right here. This is where the baby comes from. This is where your menstrual blood flows, or your period. This is where a penis enters, this hole right here. Directly below the vaginal opening, we have the anus. So, you know, a lot of times it's said that women have 3 holes. That's true. The urethra, urination, the vaginal opening, everything from the penis to the baby to the menstrual flow, and the anus. All of this that we see here, not including the anus, all of this that we see here, the vulva. That's the most correct way that we can refer to it as. This, the vulva, is very different from, give me a minute, let me set it up. So Ta-da! This one. So this that we see right here is the vagina. Just for context, you can see where the image is taken from right here. So this section, and this is on the inside of the female's body. So the vagina is the tunnel that connects the outside, the external aspect, the vulva, to the uterus and its associates on the inside. This is the vagina, that little tunnel right there. This is the cervix, and the cervix is just the opening to the uterus, which is this wonderful organ right here. These are the fallopian tubes. This is your ovary. You have two. This is where the egg is formed and released from every month. The egg travels through the fallopian tube and lodges itself in the wall of the uterus. If there's no sperm to fertilize that egg, while it's there for that month, the egg is dispelled along with the lining of the uterus, and that's our menstrual flow for that month. Vagina, vulva. Going forward, because I use the word interchangeably as well, so going forward, I'm going to try to be anatomically correct, but you know, based on the context of what we're speaking about, you can tell if I mean vulva or vagina. It's a habit, we all do it, but it's good to know that there is a difference, and that is the difference. So we're going to hop into the second aspect of today's conversation, girls tapping. We are going, if you see me looking down, I have some notes here just to guide the conversation today. So the next thing that we're going to be talking about is vaginal hygiene, which is so super important. Let's start here. Cleaning the vagina. Girls, the vagina, that tunnel on the inside, does not require cleaning. It is a self-cleaning organ. There is bacteria. Yes, bacteria. We do have good bacteria and bad bacteria. The vagina has its own little community of bacteria, good bacteria that's responsible for keeping it clean. We don't need to douche. We don't need to put anything inside. Anything that is being used to clean the vagina is only used on the vulva. See how I say vagina and vulva? Anything that's being used to clean your reproductive everything females, it's only on the vulva, only external use. That's the, nothing goes inside. So that's the first important thing that we need to note. It is also important to know, guys, I don't think I should have to say it, but whether it is after you've gone to the bathroom for whatever it is, number one or two, or you have finished taking a bath, you always wipe from front to back. Even when you're just drying the vagina, you always wipe front to back. When cleaning the outside, the vulva, it's also important to know that you don't need soap. If you ask any gynecologist, they'll tell you that washing the vagina, you don't need to use soap. But if you're going to use the soap, use it in the folds, so between the outer lips and the inner lips, that fold right there, that's where you'd use your soap or whatever it is to clean. Try not to get any form of anything chemical within the inner lips, because then that's right at the entrance of the vagina, and it can disrupt the bacteria that's in your vagina that's responsible for cleaning it. And that disruption of the bacteria can lead to a lot of infections and other things that we'll be discussing today as well. So rule number one, the vagina, the tunnel on the inside, it does not require cleaning, it is self-cleaning. If you're going to be cleaning anything and using any form of soap or intimate vaginal washes, it's only on the outside. And on that note, we need to understand also that discharge is normal. Alrighty guys, if you see me looking down, I have some notes here to guide the conversation. The next thing that we want to discuss is keeping your reproductive organ clean. And I use reproductive organ to refer to the entirety, the vagina as well as the vulva. So cleaning. The vagina, the tunnel on the inside, girls, you do not need to do anything as far as your vagina is concerned. It's a self-cleaning organ. There is bacteria on the inside. We have good and bad bacteria, and the vagina has a whole community of good bacteria, and it's acidic environment that ensures that it stays clean. It cleans itself every single day, and you see that the evidence of that self-cleanse as discharge in your underwear. There's no need to douche or whatever else that we have going on these days. Not necessary. It cleans itself. If you're going to be using any form of soap or any feminine wash or whatever it is, you only use it on the vulva, on the outside. You don't need to pass the vaginal entrance into the vagina. It's not necessary. Your gynecologist will tell you that water is sufficient. You don't need to use soap to clean your vagina. But for some persons, it makes them feel clean, more clean, cleaner. So they prefer to do that. If you're going to be doing that, just the limit is the inner lips. So between the outer lips and your thighs, and then between the outer lips and the inner lips, that's the limit. Don't get it anywhere near the vaginal entrance, because we don't want it actually entering the vagina. On the note of cleanliness, it feels weird saying this, but I'm going to say it just to ensure that it's covered. Females, whether it is drying after a bath or after you've used the bathroom number 1 or 2, you always wipe dry front to back. It's self-explanatory, but just to explain, the anus is right there, like we saw in the images before. If it is that you go the other way, back to front, you're exposing the vaginal entrance to the bacteria from the feces, and that can lead to an infection. The vagina is so delicate, and we have to ensure that we do everything that we can not to expose it to anything that can lead to irritation or infection. Wipe from front to back. Something else that's really important, cotton underwear is your best friend. Cotton is the only fabric that allows air to pass through the fibers, and that's really important because you want a dry environment. This self-cleansing organ that's pushing out discharge all day, it's really important that you have the air passing through your underwear that can create a dry enough environment to prevent infection. So cotton underwear is your best friend. Now, we have spoken about discharge. We're going to just go into that a little bit. First things first, discharge is normal. A regular female has about 4 milliliters of discharge every single day. You heard me say before that the vagina has an acidic environment, and I mean literally acidic. So what happens also, and you need to know that this is also normal, if you have an acidic vagina and you have the discharge coming from an acidic environment, it means therefore, girls, your discharge is acidic. And that acidic discharge repeatedly touching the seat of your underwear will lead to discoloration. That is nothing to be embarrassed about. That is also a part of having a vagina. Something else that I want you guys to note, an odor from your vagina is normal. It should not be a bad odor, but every woman has an odor that is unique to her. Even after you have just taken a bath, an odor from your vagina is normal. It's not a bad one. So it's okay to understand that these things are normal. The odor, the discharge, the eventual discoloration of your underwear. And normally, discharge takes about 3 to 4 months to change the color of your underwear. So if you want to change your underwear every 3 to 4 months, you can also do that. Yes? Okay guys, so we're going to be talking about discharge. When it comes on to discharge, you need to understand your discharge tells you so much about your health, the health of your vagina. The normal discharge, if you've ever seen egg white, so you crack an egg, not the yellow part, the white part that's on the outside, discharge is normally clear like that. It's sticky and it has that type of a slimy consistency. As you get closer to your period, it's normal to have discharge that is a bit more creamy, because that signifies ovulation. And all ovulation is, like I mentioned before when we were talking about the anatomy of the reproductive system, the egg is going through the fallopian tube and has lodged itself in its uterus, waiting for a sperm to come and fertilize it. That process, when you see your discharge go from that egg white consistency, clear and sticky and slimy, to something that's a little creamy, a little whiter, a little thicker, that signifies ovulation, and that is also normal. We need to know what normal is so we can identify what's abnormal. Let's talk about abnormal. And there's abnormal bad, there's abnormal good, and it's abnormal good because we can explain what's going on, right? So the first thing that we're going to be talking about is, okay, so we're going to be talking about the red discharge. Red discharge is okay if you are close to having your period. And girls, it's so important to keep track of your menstrual cycle. Most females don't understand that overall health is connected to reproductive health. We need to respect the fact that this organ pumps so much hormones into our blood at different points of every month, and this contributes to weight gain, weight loss, breakouts, or your skincare and your exercise journey. All of that has to tie in with how well you understand your reproductive system, because you're going through a phase of your menstrual cycle where you're just bloated and you're over here wondering, okay, why do I look this way, why do I feel heavier, when it's literally just a part of your cycle. Your reproductive health directly affects your overall health. Try to get a bit more acquainted with it. Okay, so red discharge. If it is close to your period, what happens sometimes is that you have a little bit of the menstrual blood that's in the discharge, and then that comes out as red. That's just indicating that your period has started. If you are nowhere near your period, you just had your period last week, 2 weeks ago, and you know that your period should not be coming right now, it can mean therefore that something has been damaged, something has been hurt. You get in contact with your doctor right away. So that's your red discharge. And sometimes it's really like bright red, and sometimes it's very subtle, but you should know that once it's red, this is okay, this is not, I need to go see a gynecologist. 1. Brown discharge. So a brownish colored discharge, you see it just before your period as well, and just after your period. Those 2 points are okay. And what it is, remember, the vagina is acidic. That acidity interacts with the blood that's coming out, the little drops of blood that's just coming, or the little drops of blood when it's finishing, and it gives that reaction happens, and it gives that brown color. So that's okay. If you have brown discharge during your period, something is wrong. It's day 1, you have a 5-day menstrual, your period lasts 5 days. It's day 1, and then day 3 I'm seeing this brown type. That's not okay. We need to go to a gynecologist. Stop right now. Okay, this one's interesting. Green or yellow. Sometimes it's greenish yellow, sometimes it's dominantly yellow, yellowish green. Green, yellow discharge, STI. It signifies that there is a bacterial infection. Back in the day, the discharge was like primarily associated with chlamydia and gonorrhea, but today we understand that there is a lot of other types of STI, sexually transmitted infections, and it could be any one of those that are from a bacterial origin. So if you realize that your discharge is green or yellow, to the doctor, that's some idea that there's some form of bacteria that's in there. Your vagina is fighting that bacteria, and the discharge has taken on that color, because remember, again, good girl clean herself. She is self-cleansing, and in fighting that bacteria, your good bacteria trying to fight that bacteria, the bacteria is expelled in your discharge, and it's greenish yellowish, and you're just like, to the gynecologist right away, guys.